Welcome to our second edition of Beach Talk. I'm your host, Richard Montgomery. Today, we have Manhattan Beach native and our current Manhattan Beach Mayor, Steve Napolitano. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you, Richard.
Talk about what's going on in Manhattan Beach and the South Bay. And with that, we'll ask Steve. So, Steve, growing up in Manhattan Beach, tell me what you remember most growing up here and what the most fun part of growing up here was.
Oh, geez, I got to go down Amnesia Lane. Growing up, it's a very different city today than it was when I was growing up. And I was born in '66, and I lived my house there. My parents are still here on Walnut Avenue, and it was a great childhood. I mean, I spoiled in the sense of what a great community to grow up in. Very Mayberry. I know that El Segundo gets that label, but we were Mayberry the same way, and where we'd basically go out as kids when it was light, when we got up in the summer, when we'd come back when it was dark. Everybody knew each other. We just walked around, made friends, and played ball, and we played football and baseball or softball or whatever it might be. And so it was very idyllic. Very different economics back then, though, very middle class. Folks, my father worked in aerospace, worked at TRW, which is now Northrop Grumman, but growing up, I mean, teachers could afford to buy houses. We had aerospace workers, flight attendants, captains, pilots that worked at the airport and everything, but a lot of aerospace and a lot of local, but it was more middle class than anything else, and a lot of renters in the house, little homes. It was amazing how many, you look at homes today, 5,000 square feet, you think, how could, someone grow up with 7 siblings in one of these tiny little houses? But they did it. My brother and I, growing up, we shared a room together until he moved out, basically. So it was very Mayberry, and it was just a great place, very safe place to grow up in. The beach was there, the sun came out, you got out of the house and you left. There was no watching TV, sitting around, or playing on video games or iPads or anything like that. You went out, you made friends, you played, and then you came home when it was dark, ate dinner, and woke up the next day and did it all over again.
Did you walk to school in those days? No SUV rides to school?
No SUV rides, no coffee in the hands or anything like that, no cell phones, that they're texting on. No, I walked to school, I think starting second grade on, I walked to school. I went to Pacific School, so I off Walnut, walked up the hill and walked down the hill, and then going to Maricosta, and that was when Center School was there.
That's right.
The middle school was next door to Pacific School. There were 2 middle schools. Begg was across the Sepulveda, and then we were, everyone west went to Center School, and so that's where I went. And then when it came to Maricosta, I either got on my bike or I walked. But yeah, nobody. The funny thing is that one of the big differences between today and way back when was that you saw the parking lot at Maricosta and it was empty. Kids didn't have cars. We couldn't afford cars. Our parents wouldn't buy us cars. And now they can't find enough parking up there. The parking lot is full. But no, there was a big bike rack and everyone just locked their bikes up.
And I get questions all the time. People ask me, so Richard, what was it like here with Sand Dune Park, 30, 40, 50 years ago? Was it like this? I'm not talking about the use and constant exercise use. When we were growing up, what was Sand Dune Park back then? It wasn't gated, obviously, but what was it like?
Was not gated. It was wilder, just like the Veterans Parkway now and everything. Just a little bit more wild, less manicured, and it was just open. It was great fun. We would go over to Sand Dune. I went to many birthday parties over in Sand Dune. It was a great place to have a birthday party. Still is. The giant sand dune, and the big challenge was crawling up it, walking up it, whatever. But what we'd do is bring cardboard and we'd slide down it. And of course, the rumors is people driving VW buses down the sides and everything, and everything's fenced off now, so you don't get those stories anymore. But back in the heyday, before the fence and everything, it was just great fun. It was locals, and you just cruise on down, and like I said, you take your cardboard and slide on down.
So the overflow that we experienced, the people using it almost daily exercises, didn't happen back then. The neighbors weren't involved with finding trash in their front yard and overload of vehicles and sweat socks, all that stuff didn't happen.
There was exercise, but it was to a certain level, a manageable level. This is the effect of the internet and social media. where, the hug of death, it's called. It's where the internet loves something so much that it kills it off for everybody else. Because you had this great facility and people would come visit and work out there too, and that's fine. But then the buses started coming with the teams from the different schools, from USC, from UCLA, some professional teams, trainers would be out there. And it just became a mob scene because much like the 4th Street stairs in Santa Monica, someone put online, hey, this is the best workout in the world. If you can do this, you can do anything. And so all of a sudden it became a training ground rather than a park. And we want to welcome everybody, but it just became too big and too loved. And people, the effects of bottles everywhere, socks, dirty socks, it's amazing what people leave behind.
Exactly.
And that caused a lot of heartburn in the neighborhood, so it had to be fixed.
I'm glad that part settled down. The other question I get asked of people that move here not from California, don't know much about the history they're visiting. They don't understand it's Beach being a draw year-round for visitors. If you listen to you go down by the pier every weekend, whether it's summer or winter, we have different, every language in the world goes by there.
That's right.
We don't see so much. We see an influx of summer visitors, that's true, by the airport coming, stopping by here. People forget we're still a year-round destination. And I have yet to tell them, we don't have a count that shows me how many visitors come to the city in the summertime. We know that packed downtown is there, not just our normal events and the MB Open and volleyball and 6-man, but we know our summertime is pushed to the limit down there. And we always ask, will Manhattan Beach consider parking garages down the road? And we kind of say, look, we don't really look at parking garages. The way of the future with autonomous vehicles and Uber and Lyft, do we really need parking garages anymore? Is that a way of the future to look at to handle the crowds? And the second most question is the city having looking at an idea of a summer type program to where they, I wouldn't say induce visitors to come here, but have a summer type setup, a summer type first time visitors to Manhattan Beach? And I say, that's a great question. I think it's more of a chamber function to handle visitors to the city as opposed to the city promoting visitors to our city.
Well, we're always promoting visitors to our city one way or another, whether it's the chamber, the city with the events that we put on, certainly things like the Hometown Fair, other community events, the 6-man, Manhattan Open. It's not, everyone who goes to that is not from Manhattan Beach. No. And so we welcome them. They patronize our restaurants, they patronize our shops, parking, sure. Do I see a future for more parking downtown or other areas? No, first of all, we don't have the land. The cost of the land and the cost to build parking, especially underground parking, is very high. So the cost benefit really isn't there. I think if certain parcels downtown are redeveloped, if Bonds was ever to go out and something else wanted to come in, I think we'd look at that for underground parking. But you'll get a lot of residents saying, whoa, we got enough parking, we got enough visitors right now. And the trick is maintaining a balance, balance between the convenience for locals and residents, as opposed to attracting visitors who we also need to help sustain our tax base and just show off all the good things that we have here. Certainly any sunny day we're going to get folks visiting here, just like I visit other places, you visit other places, and so that's the circle we run in. But it's a good thing. Again, that balance though is what we want to strike, and I think we've got that to a good degree right now. I don't see that we're going to go out and say, hey, more people, here we are. I think they all know we're here already. I really do.
That's true. And with our new Roundhouse Aquarium renovated to another draw that we have in our backyard, when you were growing up, was there a summer season people would come here and you'd see more of an influx of both visitors, residents combining in summer? It seemed like it was year round? You said people had summer homes here and they went away.
That was early in the history of Manhattan Beach. Manhattan Beach was more of a summer destination, a summer retreat for the folks who lived in Pasadena and downtown LA. Mm-hmm. And in fact, a lot of the homes were really glamping tents. It was, tents that were basically with 2x4s, so it looked like a house, and the canvas and everything. And Jan Dennis's history of Manhattan Beach books, you can read about it there. But I think folks here now are year round. I don't think there's a lot of people here who just come in the summertime. There are some people who have second homes here who just come when they can, but good for them, they can afford to do that. But I think the majority of residents here are here year-round and enjoy the amenities year-round as well.
And when you go talk to people that are not familiar with Manhattan Beach, what do you tell people about, I never heard of Manhattan Beach, whether from the East Coast or from the Midwest, and what do you tell people right off the bat about explaining who we are or what is Manhattan Beach?
Depends on who they are. If I like them, I tell them, because if I don't like them, I don't. No, I tell them that it's an incredibly special place. I live in a place where billions of people would like to come visit. And I'm fortunate enough to live there, so I feel very lucky to do that. And so when people say, why don't you go anywhere? Why don't you go on vacation? I say, well, I go on vacation, but the reality is I want to come home too, because it's a great place to be. And that's what I tell people. I tell people that it's this small town surrounded by big towns, and we've been able to keep our small town atmosphere and charm and character. It's something that we have to fight for and strive for on a daily basis. Again, striking that balance between development and visitors and residents and keeping things in scale. Again, balance. And so that's what I tell them. I just tell them it was a great place to grow up in. It's a great place to live now. It's a great place to visit. You can't go wrong here.
No. I'm lucky enough to be not a native, 30-year resident at Manhattan Beach, and I tell people all the time,
You're a newbie.
I'm a newbie. It's where every day to me is a vacation here. I think we're blessed to live here. It's one of the most incredible places in the world. I go all over, like you said, diving and visiting, and I go, wow, I'm so happy to get home, because we have vacation in our backyard. So we don't realize that we have it till we come home and realize, why go anywhere else? Yes, go visit, but come home, nothing like this.
I typically don't go on vacations or anything to a beach. It's like, I got the greatest beach, what do I need to? And I play volleyball and all these things. So it's one of those things where it's like, if I'm gonna go somewhere else, I want to soak up a different experience. I don't need the beach experience, I've got that.
You've got that. So it reminds me, so playing volleyball here, growing up in Manhattan Beach, you play with people that became legends down the road. It was normal to play these guys. And then see the women volleyball tournament take off, and your idea, when you're mayor a second or third time, you put the idea of the winners of the Hall of Fame. So the MB Open, the winners not only receive a check for winning the tournament, they receive a brass volleyball plaque on the pier, perpetuity. Yep. So what year did that start?
Oh boy, don't make me think back. I think it was 94, 95. And it's been a great tradition, because now we have the unveiling, so that the winners of the previous Open get recognized on the opening of the following year's tournament. So they get recognized and everything. And sometimes it's funny, because last time, the partners changed.
That's
the people who got the women's team that got first last year, they split up and started playing with different partners, but they were recognized together that day. So it makes for fun but awkward moments. For me, my history is with volleyball is beating up on those guys in the early tournaments, and they all go on to make money and beat me later on down the road. No, it was, volleyball growing up here, just a great community. We grew up playing tournaments from place to place to place, Playa del Rey, Santa Monica, Zuma Beach, down south in Dana Point and everything, Seal Beach, and you just grow up playing these CBVA tournaments, trying to get that higher ranking. You just keep playing and try to beat your friends, basically, because you become this great group of friends that travels from place to place competing against each other. And I still see people to this day that I would competed against years ago, and it's just great. And where we were rivals back then, we're just great friends now.
I love that stuff. So you got to watch people like Karch Krayan. Was Adam Jewell here when you were here?
Oh, sure.
You saw Karch Krayan, Adam Jewell. You saw
Bradovich,
Abitobi, Frohoff,
Hovland
Dodd, all the great names of the Hall of Famers. You got to actually play with them when they were coming up here. Your friends.
I got to lose all of them. Yes.
You still have white tattoo on your chest somewhere from all that?
There's a few scars along the way, mostly here.
If you had to, someone came today and say, Steve, you had the power to change one thing at Manhattan Beach, say, to make it better. It's a great place. We all love it. We protect it. What's one thing that you think in your mind that if we could change one thing about our city that we would change going forward today?
I guess there'd be a couple things, but one of those things, and this is the joke, right, is that everybody moves here because they think it's a special place.
Right.
But some folks who move here because they think it's a special place, the second they get here, they want to change it to the way they are. And it's just, I'm hoping that they understand why it's special and they want to keep it special and maintain that going forward. So that's one thing, but I say that half in jest. The other thing is, though, I really would like to see a intra-city transportation system. We had the downtowner, didn't work out for the long run. I would like to get people out of their cars more, but make it a citywide system where whether you're east of Sepulveda, on the north end, the south end, wherever it might be, not just those folks that were west of Pacific that got the downtowner, citywide, where we're able to use some of our transportation dollars. I think we're going to need a change in how Metro interprets how those dollars can be used, but I think that rather than a fixed bus route that they like, that we change over to the app-based, where it's you pick up at your house and things like that, because people just aren't going to go in Manhattan Beach to stand at a bus stop and wait for the thing. They're busy, they want to wait in their house, whatever. They're used to the ride hailing now. I think if we can organize a system like that, get it paid for through transportation dollars that are restricted and can't be used for anything else, it makes sense. That is something, though, to help people get out of their cars, help reduce the congestion downtown and elsewhere, that could be a good thing for us.
I like that. And for those who don't know, what we're talking about, the downtowner was I'm going to use a better word, a golf cart. It was electric engine, right?
An extra big golf cart. I think it sat 6. It relied on advertising, which they never got enough of, and nobody ever does get enough advertising to support these things. But they changed, the owners changed to a different model of operation where they wanted basically us to pay for their service, but it didn't make sense at that time. I think that most people would like the electric buggies that they have. There's another proposal that someone brought to us, but I think we really need to look beyond that and look at our own system. And I love our neighboring cities, but I think for timeliness and things like that, the app-based within our city, I think is something that we definitely should investigate.
I agree. I appreciate your time, Mr. Mayor. I know it's Friday to get you going.
That's
We're going to get you going. We can always bring you back. We'll bring you back for more time, and we'll have more fun, but thank you for being here.
Thank you, Richard.
That's it, guys. Wrap up to next week. We'll catch you the next time at Beach Talk. Take care.